Today, we want to ask a few questions about what you may know about Joe Biden's agenda before we take a deeper look at Biden. Before we begin, and if you haven't already, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It really helps the channel. So let's get back to the questions. Is Biden making mistakes? Is he fumbling around with no real direction? Is he taking orders from outside the Oval Office? Or is he so old he doesn't know what he's doing? If you listen to the conservative pundits, these are the excuses for Biden's actions, and they're false. Let me ask you this. Why are pundits not exposing the following information? Where was Biden married? Where did he and his wife spend their honeymoon? Biden's overall goals for the United States that were clearly outlined in his two publications during the 1990s. Exposing Biden's Build Back Better program and where it originated from. Most people do not know the answer to these questions because the so-called conservative pundits haven't revealed them to you. You have to ask the question why. Are they ignorant of the answers, or is it something worse? Either the networks they broadcast from will not allow it, or they're deliberately keeping their audiences in the dark. Either way, you have to ask why. There is direction and purpose to all that Biden does. Look at the results of his efforts and you have the answers. All of the answers to these questions are in my book, Benedict Biden. And this explains the reason for the direction as well as his actions for decades. Biden has published his intentions for a new world order and subjugating our country under the complete authority of the United Nations for years, both in an article he wrote for the Wall Street Journal and the booklet with the New World Order in their titles. Yet for some reason, no one who has ever run against him has brought out these treasonous aspects during their campaign against him. Why? Even today, these printed words of Biden are ignored. In addition, our book points out how the Build Back Better is a campaign of the United Nations. It didn't start with Biden. It's a program of the United Nations being implemented by Biden. Go to just about any United Nations program website and you will see that Build Back Better is part of the UN, not Biden, although Biden is trying to implement it. Biden's program has as its goal the complete breakdown of Americanism to be placed under the subjugation of the United Nations. In other words, destabilize our country to ultimately offer a global remedy. When looking at it in this context, the so-called mistakes show a pattern. Since Biden's early days in politics, he's laid out the clues for this overall agenda. Why is it that almost all conservatives know that Bernie Sanders honeymooned in communist Russia after he was married again in 1988? However, no one knows that Biden, who was already a U.S. Senator, honeymooned in a communist country in 1977. Why, at the height of the Cold War with the USSR, would Biden and his wife Jill honeymoon in a communist country? Not Niagara Falls, not Hawaii, but a communist country where they were incommunicado for that period. This was after they were married in the United Nations Chapel, which refers to itself as the door to the UN. This chapel has a history of supporting all things United Nations. Both where he was married and where he spent his honeymoon says a great deal about Biden. Yet I am not aware of any conservative pundit who tells this story about Biden. Why not? It says a great deal about the man. And perhaps it says a great deal about the pundits who don't mention it. It is the same with the articles and booklet Biden has written about the New World Order under that title. He outlines where he believes the United States should go, and where we should go is under the complete control of the United Nations. We show this in our book, Benedict Biden. I travel around the country giving speeches on this subject based on my book. I invite you to order the book and then get others to read it. It gives a better picture of what's going on. Yes, Biden is failing physically, but politically he is implementing a plan he has had since before 1992. And remember, since at least 2021, Biden has been stating that, quote, no amendment is absolute, unquote. The Bill of Rights are amendments, and he was talking about the Second Amendment, but included all of them. Pretty scary, especially when it comes to the World Health Organization. Biden wants us totally subservient to this outfit, not only over pandemics, but at our entire health program in the United States. I suggest that if you can, put together an event in your area that I can speak at. Yes, it takes organization and funding, but it is a far better thing than a virtual meeting. Why? Because you get people out and interface with them. They buy more literature at the event to further enhance their understanding of what is going on and the correct solution to the problems. More importantly, you have the opportunity to see people up close and personal, getting to know them and getting them to know you and trust you as a step toward joining the John Birch Society. It is a huge help towards building organization in your area. Remember the story of Paul Revere. If he had not been a leader in the Sons of Liberty and worked with the people in the outskirts of Boston when he rode out into their yard yelling something about the redcoats are coming, the man of the house would have just thought it was some drunk and gone back to bed. But the man of the house knew Paul Revere because they'd worked together in the Sons of Liberty and the Committees of Correspondence. They therefore not only recognized Paul Revere, they trusted him and rallied to the Lexington Green. Working together on a personal level builds relationships and organization. This comes about due to personal meetings, not so-called meetings on the internet. Someday, the internet may be shut down to us. Look at the recent attempt by Biden to formulate a disinformation censorship board. Reading produces a great deal more knowledge as well, rather than videos and the internet. Videos and the internet may start people on the road to understanding, but only reading will produce the necessary understanding to produce people who will be imbued with the responsibility to do something about working to solve our problems in an organized, concerted manner. So, if you've not ordered our book, Benedict Biden, please do so, and then get others to read it as well. It's time to expose Biden's agenda and get us out of the United Nations. So, if you would like to hear the full version of Joe Biden's startling agenda, his program for making America only a cog in the New World Order, and what can be done about it, book a Benedict Biden water carrier for the New World Order speaking event in your area. You can do so by going to jbs.org and clicking on the Education tab. There you will find Freedom's Voices and how you can book a tour. Other options would be contacting your local coordinator or calling 1-800-JBS-USA1. Also, please share this with others, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell. It's time to get us out of the United Nations.